Think Squad is made possible by AT&T, investing to bring wired and wireless internet to America's communities, because the future has always been our business. AT&T, your world delivered. The American Honda Foundation, a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television's Think Squad project and committed since 1984 to improving science and math education for youth across America. To learn more, go to www.foundation.honda.com. And from contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thanks.
People say science can be a real drag. I say that's just because they don't have the right support. I'm Alexis. I'm the leader of the Think Squad. We help kids solve problems. All kinds of problems. Most of the time, our clients come to us. Sometimes it's the other way around. I've got a good team. There's Christopher. He's my right-hand man. He doesn't say much, but he misses even less. If there's something worth knowing, it ends up on his clipboard. After all, when it comes to the scientific method, you've got to establish the problem, right? Then there's Cameron. She's the reporter for the school news. During her interviews, she always finds a way to slip in a few extra questions for me. And all of her research usually leads to a pretty interesting hypothesis. And when it's time to test that hypothesis, that's where Gary comes in. He's a real lab rat. If he's not building something, he's probably taking it apart. Luckily, Sam's around to make sure he doesn't blow his goggles off. But don't get to thinking we're here to do your homework for you. No way. We provide the method. You provide the conclusions. We'll even fire up the think tank to help you sort everything out. What's the think tank? Don't worry, you'll find out. Just call the Think Squad. There's no problem we can help you solve. This is ridiculous. They come to us. We don't come to them, right? I feel like I'm delivering a pizza. Problem? Because, problems are our specialty, but we do take appointments.
I know. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and if you're worried about privacy, don't. If you don't want everybody to know that you're into science.
Science? I love science. You know what I like particularly in science? Rocks. I love rocks.
Yeah, rocks are cool. Who doesn't love rocks?
Me and my sister have this creek out behind our house, and we go find her for rocks. Rocks.
Okay, is there something we can help you guys with?
In fact, just the other day, we found a couple of rocks. In my stream, a couple of rocks.
That's great.
At first, we didn't know what to think of them. Our grandpa told us, but we would never believe him.
You have to promise you won't tell anybody.
Look, you guys can trust us.
Is that what we think it is?
I don't know, but the Think Squad will definitely take your case.
Are you serious?
Their story sounds legit.
There's no way that can't be the real thing. Can it?
I'm no prospector, but it seems pretty real to me.
No pictures, please. Thanks.
They're a little overprotective.
So how are we supposed to figure out what those are without seeing them?
I'm working on that.
Hey, I trust you guys. But if it's the real deal, we're not letting it out of our sight.
Don't worry, we're here to help you. If I were you, I'd be a little more excited. You know how many people wish they had a gold mine in their backyard right now? That would solve a lot of problems.
You stay away from our gold.
I think maybe this was a bad idea. We should put them back. Yeah, no one will ever know.
No, everybody just calm down. I mean, there's a lot we don't know about those little rocks, but it just takes some finding out to do.
Yeah, no problem. We'll give it the works, right?
Right. But because of the sensitive nature of the case, you guys are welcome to help us.
All right.
So what is it you guys do anyway?
Simple scientific method. We establish the problem,
Then we observe the data out in the field.
and we formulate a hypothesis based on what we find out.
And then we test it.
But first, I need to do a little reporting.
And I think this is the perfect place to start digging.
Welcome to the gold standard. We're keeping you up on the scientific world around us. Hello everyone, I'm William.
And I'm Ashley. Thanks for tuning in. Your Y News update starts right now.
Gold in your own backyard? No need to rush outside just yet. But is it possible that precious minerals like gold and diamonds could be hiding right under our nose?
Yes, even though it's less likely today than it was a few centuries ago, the possibility of finding highly valued minerals in a river or stream is more common than you might think.
While the majority of the gold in the United States is found in states like South Dakota and Nevada, there have been documented finds of limited amounts of gold and even diamonds in northern states like Michigan.
So if there is gold in these hills, where are they and how'd they get here? And how do you know if you're looking at the real McCoy and not some imposter?
We sent Star Y News reporter Cameron into the field to find the answer.
We've all seen gold before, but how common is it really? And is it something you could just stumble across yourself? I'm at a construction site in downtown Detroit to meet with someone whose job it is to work with rocks. Charles Barker, a geologist who works for an environmental consulting firm in Detroit, met me at the location of the new Port Authority building, where there's still a lot of building and digging going on. Charles grew up in Birmingham, Michigan, before getting an undergrad degree in geology from Arizona State University and his graduate degree from Boston University. He has spent most of his life studying rocks, including mapping the seafloor off the coast of California and teaching introductory geology at Wayne State, which left me wondering, with all that digging, what does he know about finding gold? So what exactly do you do?
Well, most geologists work out of doors. So they might do something like work at an oil company looking for oil. Other geologists might go into mining, where you look for silver and gold. Other geologists go into environmental consulting. So we'd look at contaminated groundwater and how to clean it up. And then other geologists might work in the geotechnical engineering field, which is basically looking at how foundations for buildings should be built and what depth. So for example, for this building, we might actually go down and take some cores of the bedrock and then sample that and make sure it'll hold up the building.
Okay.
In fact, I've got some samples I can show you if you like.
Okay.
Okay? So as I was saying before, geotechnical engineers actually look at how deep foundations should go for various buildings, depending on where they are. For instance, we've got some tall buildings here and the new Port Authority facility. So what we need to do is figure out how deep those foundations go for a tall building. And they need to be founded in deep bedrock. So the geotechnical engineers will actually drill cores, and in this case, 100 feet or more into the earth to take samples of the bedrock. Here's some that we have from this site that show you how solid the rock is. And we need that for the building to be able to be standing up. If it's sitting on clay, it'll topple over possibly, or be like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, okay?
And what does that have to do with gold?
Well, geologists study all types of minerals. There's thousands of minerals and various rock types. So we're interested in looking at, if you go into mining, we have to know what gold is, where it could be found. and other minerals as well.
Say there's gold in your backyard. How did it get there?
Well, in Michigan, that's a very good question. In fact, it has to do with the glaciers moving material down from Canada. Let me show you over here.
Okay.
This is a geologic map of Michigan. All the colors represent different ages of rock. So the rocks in the middle are of Jurassic period, and out of the edges are older rocks, Cambrian and such. Millions of years old, hundreds of millions of years old. So about 2 million years ago, up in Canada, there are areas where there's igneous rocks and gold mines, even diamond mines. I'm going to take this bag of ice to represent a glacier that moved down about 2 million years ago, and several times actually, and it moved down scraping up all kinds of rock and debris, and then they melt. You can see all that debris and sediment, including gold, is now in the lower peninsula of Michigan, where you could find it in streams.
Okay, so have there ever been any documented cases of someone stumbling across their own pot of gold?
Well, actually, yes. In fact, gold was first found in the United States in North Carolina. And it's kind of funny, a kid actually found a chunk of gold in a stream, a big rock like this, okay? And it was so heavy, they actually used it as a doorstop. And then years later found out that it was solid gold. Now in Michigan, we find gold up in the Upper Peninsula. There's actually been some gold mines that have operated up there. And as we said before, the glaciers moved the sediment that contained gold from the north down here, so we can find it in the Huron River system. In fact, any large system of streams in Michigan in the lower peninsula, we're actually been able to find gold in.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, what makes gold so valuable? Isn't it just like any other element?
Well, not really. Gold is very, very rare. It also has a lot of other properties that are very special to gold. In fact, the chemical symbol for gold is AU, which stands for aurora. It's a very nice glow about it. So it's used in jewelry. And it also has some very special properties. It can be very malleable. You can pound it out to very thin sheets that are used in gold plating. It's also very, very heavy, okay? Most minerals like this sand have a specific gravity, which is a type of density or weight of about 2.5. But gold is a specific gravity of 19. It's incredibly heavy, and that's what makes it work as far as gold panning, because if it's heavy, it's going to be at the bottom of the pan, okay? So there's lots of uses for gold and jewelry and electronics, so it's actually just an incredibly precious metal.
So if you find something you think might be gold, how do you know it's not just fool's gold?
Well, there's a couple of tests you can do. Actually, a lot of times people will find mica. See it flashing in the river. It's got a lot of gold color and it glistens, and so that might look like gold to some people. There's actually a few tests that you can use to determine if something is gold or not. You know, whether it's very heavy, which gold will be, or if it breaks, which gold wouldn't, it'd be very bendable. Another test you could do is to take a streak plate and take the rock and scrape across and see what the color is.
So if you do find something you think might be gold, what can you do to cash it in?
Well, actually, you'd have to do some tests first to be sure you have gold. Remember, it's very heavy, so it's going to be at the bottom of a gold pan. And also it bends, as I said earlier, so you can look under a microscope. And if it's something that's not gold, it's going to break apart, be very brittle. Whereas gold is going to be very malleable. It'll sort of fold around whatever you're pointing into it.
Okay. Well, you heard it here on Y News. Gold can be found in rivers and streams by you. Remember, it's still a precious mineral, which means it'll be pretty hard to come by. But if you'd like to increase your chances of finding a nugget or two, you never know. You could become a geologist and work with gold every day. For Y News, this is Cameron.
Have you ever been wrongly accused? Do you have a hard time convincing people you're telling the truth?
But I wasn't cheating.
Do you need someone to prove your case?
You better think smart.
When everyone had accused me of cheating, the Think Squad used handprint analysis to prove I did not copy that paper, and they cleared my name. Thanks, Think Squad.
There's no problem we can't solve. Contact us with the Think Squad.
Got some news for you.
Yeah?
So it turns out that those rocks of yours might actually be what we think they are. Or maybe not.
Oh.
And based on our findings, I think it's time for you to develop your hypothesis.
No.
Excuse me?
I said no. I don't want to make a hypothesis. I don't want to find out what them stupid rocks are. Just forget that we ever found them.
But what you have, it could really be big. It could change your life.
Yeah, and what if it is gold? What if people start coming to our house trying to find more of it? What if they try to buy our stream?
If someone found gold in your backyard, really found it, think about your parents. They wouldn't have to worry for quite a while.
But that's our house, and that's our stream. And I don't want another house. I just wish I never found them stupid rocks and that stupid stream.
Look, I'll take you to go talk to the think tank, and maybe you'll change your mind.
No think tank, no think squad. Just leave me alone.
Load gold report.
Gold is a sought-after precious metal and also an element present on the periodic table, represented by the symbol AU and atomic number 79. Gold most commonly occurs as nuggets or grains in rocks and various mineral deposits. It is dense, soft, shiny, and the most malleable and ductile pure metal in known existence. In its purest form, it has a bright yellow color and luster, and unlike certain other common metals, is impervious to rusting in air or in water. Its traditional use throughout human history has related to its monetary value, and its very presence has become something by which wealth is judged.
Pause report. Create tangent. What problems are associated with gold or wealth?
Tangent created. Gold report. Question. What are problems associated with gold or wealth? Answer. While the study of certain stresses caused by rapid accumulations of wealth is still relatively new, belief in a sudden wealth syndrome does exist. Its most common association is with lottery winners, inheritors, or people lucky enough to strike it rich.
Are there any symptoms?
Symptoms can include an increase in anxiety, persistent thoughts or impulses related to money, lack of sleep, irritability, guilt about newfound wealth, and a fear of losing control or being taken advantage of.
What other rocks can be mistaken for gold?
The iron sulfide pyrite's metallic luster and yellow hue have given it the distinction of becoming commonly known as fool's gold. It is harder and more brittle than gold and is susceptible to tarnishing. It is extremely common, forming when hydrogen sulfide combines with iron. However, the only real value of pyrite is in its use to create sulfuric acid for industrial purposes. Regardless, it remains visually attractive, and many museums keep specimens on display for educational purposes.
What tests can confirm the presence of gold?
Nitric acid has long been used to confirm the presence of golden items, and this is the origin of the colloquial term acid test, referring to a gold standard test for genuine value. Streak tests can also be used, as the streak left by an actual piece of gold will appear much different than visually comparable minerals like pyrite. Finally, there is a tradition of biting gold to confirm authenticity. Although not professionally recognized, the bite should mark the gold because it is a soft metal according to Mohs hardness scale.
Think tank and.
It really could be gold, couldn't it?
I don't know. Is that your hypothesis?
If it was, my mom and dad, they wouldn't have to worry. That's more important than any old house, right?
Just tell us what you want to do.
I guess we need to test it.
What's wrong?
I think there's another problem.
So remind me again why you threw the gold back into the stream,
We didn't want it.
and now you do.
Well, if it was gold, wouldn't you?
If it was gold, I wouldn't have thrown it back.
It's complicated.
Right. Any ideas?
Well, if we had what we actually thought was the gold, any number of tests could tell us what it actually is.
when we don't actually have the gold?
Well, the gold is in the stream. And when you can't bring the stream to the lab, you bring the lab to the stream.
But guys, there's still one more problem. That giant piece of gum is useless without my gold to test it on.
And that's why we have to get it back. Time to do a little panning.
There's got to be some kind of ultra cool, super electromagnetic method for finding gold in this stream as opposed to this, isn't there?
You mean like a metal detector?
Serious?
Yeah, but what fun would that be? Find anything?
Nothing. So if we do find something, what's a streak test gonna tell us?
Well, like a scratch test or an acid test, a streak test helps us identify a mysterious mineral. Now, in this case, dragging a rock across a plate, well, pretty much gives us a look at its guts.
Did you just say guts?
Some rocks look very different on the inside than they do on the outside. And with the streak test, you get to see the rock in its powdered form by the streak it leaves behind. And it really helps us figure out what it's really made of.
So what kind of streak does gold leave?
Well, gold leaves a yellow or gold streak.
Makes sense. And pyrite?
Pyrite leaves a greenish black streak.
But pyrite isn't green or black.
True. On the outside, pyrite looks like gold, but on the inside, something much different, hence the greenish black streak.
Hey guys, I think I found one.
Gotcha.
We hope.
Finders keepers.
Don't worry about it. Last time I checked, this was your stream. Begin the science.
What? I really almost started to believe it.
Well, you saw it for yourself. The field test proved it. No gold there, just fool's gold.
Don't I know it?
Hey, just because you found fool's gold doesn't make you a fool. You found a rock, and every rock is worth something.
And I'm sure if you did a little digging, you'd find someone, somewhere who could use a little pyrite.
And just because it isn't gold doesn't mean you can't get something for it, right?
And every little bit helps.
And you've already done the hard part.
What's that?
You know where to look.
Yeah. And if I go back to the stream, gather some more, put them all together.
Suddenly, you're building something significant.
Just takes a little hard work, I guess.
Scientifically speaking, I call that a very sound conclusion.
Thanks.
Wait, what do we owe you?
Oh, us? The only thing you guys owe us is that now you're both a member of the Think Squad.
Squad is made possible by AT&T, investing to bring wired and wireless internet to America's communities, because the future has always been our business. AT&T, your world delivered. The American Honda Foundation, a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television's Sync Squad project and committed since 1984 to improving science and math education for youth across America. To learn more, go to www.foundation.honda.com. And from contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thanks.